Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another edition of Mondays with Murphy. I'm Murphy Fair, and I'm spending a lot of time driving around the DeKalb, Cannon, Smith County areas, as well as parts of Rutherford County and Wilson County, just to talk to some of the interesting people that call this place home. And today we're talking with Darrin Vincent, who is not necessarily a native of DeKalb County, but has lived here a pretty good while. And Darrin, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I think you said you just got off the road last night, maybe.
We took a 20-hour bus ride from San Antonio, Texas to Nashville, yeah.
A musician, obviously, that's why we're in a recording studio, but I looked at your website last night and noticed just between now and Christmas, you're performing in 10 different states. So obviously you get a lot of miles every year, don't you?
We do. Yeah, we travel year round. We usually take 2 vacations, 2 weeks at Christmas and 2 weeks off in the summer. And those are our family time that we don't tour. But the rest of the time we travel around the world. And then we've been playing a lot during the week, maybe 4 to 6 times a month at our home at the Grand Ole Opry. So that's
very nice.
I don't call that work though, being home at the Opry. So.
Well, I was just going to say, you've got one of those jobs that it doesn't feel like work. You're having a good time every time.
Everything but the travel, yeah. But
sure.
Definitely being able to perform songs that we've written and other people that we love, like Jimmy Fortune, the Statler Brothers, people like that are friends of ours.
Household words all across the country, or all around the world for that matter.
And see the people's reaction. And we're actually, musicians and writers and everything. I've found we're like a therapy to people. There's a lot of people with cancer and going through a lot of difficult times, and they return to the music for their therapy to get through the rough times in their lives. Music
is the bus that drives me in everything that I do, whatever kind of music it happens to be. It's a great thing.
Isn't that wonderful?
Without a doubt. Yeah. You started at a very early age, I understand, and maybe come from a musician family. Explain to us how all that came about.
I grew up in a little town in northern Missouri called Green Top, Missouri. My mama still lives in the same home that I was raised in up there. And she's 80. Her name's Darrin Vincent, and my dad was Johnny Vincent. And they had a family group called the Sally Mountain Show, the Vincent family. And the reason we called it the Sally Mountain Show, I guess for commercial reasons, which probably my dad and mom didn't even know. They probably did, because we had the TV show back in Kirksville, and then a radio show. And so they had to call it something, and they called it the Sally Mountain Show.
Sure.
And there's a little mountain over there on the Sheraton River in Worthington where my mom and dad grew up called Sally's Mountain. And I guess there's a lady that supposedly wrote Sally Gooden, and I don't know if there's any truth to that, but she played the fiddle, had a moonshine, and ran a cat house up there, I guess, because there was a coal mine up there in that area. So we had it all.
All kinds of things to put it on the map, right?
Yeah, that's right. Funny. So anyway, that's where my family grew up. I'm a 4th generation through my father. Okay. A lot of the music came through my dad. And we traveled the world as a family group called the Sally Mountain Show for many years. And
sure.
My sister, Rhonda Vincent, which would probably be a well-known name that everybody would know, she and I split out on our own. She got a country deal in Nashville. Mm-hmm. And, of course, that kind of disbanded the Sally Mountain Show, and she started kind of doing her own thing as Rhonda Vincent. Mm-hmm. And from there, I went on to work with John Hartford, who wrote Gentle on My Mind for the Glenn Campbell hit.
Oh, my goodness.
And I worked for him 7 years. At the time I worked with John Hartford, I left Rhonda. I was working with her too, but I left both John Hartford and Rhonda to go with Ricky Skaggs, and that's where Rhonda and I kind of got into a disagreement, and I moved to Nashville when my son was 6 months old, and he's 28, going to be 29. So I've been in DeKalb County for about 29 years, and my wife taught here for almost the whole time until just a few years back. She was a principal, special ed teacher, a staple of the community, Julie Vincent. Yeah, my kids, Zachary and Chandler and Victoria, they grew up here. And then about 10 years ago, we adopted a girl from DeKalb County. Her name is Taylor Leanne Dailey Vincent. We adopted her as that name. So
right, good for you.
So our whole family's rooted here in Smithville.
You said you started playing at
age 4. Yeah, wow. I was on stage, and they've got pictures of me playing mandolin and singing at age 4.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm 53, so I've been in music business almost
Going on 50 years,
50
right?
years, yeah. People are saying 50-some years. It's like, yeah, I've been on stage my whole life.
Now, you mentioned your sister, and I understand she, like you, are both members of the Grand Ole Opry, and that's the only brother-sister situation that exists.
Yeah, in the history, almost 100 years of the Grand Ole Opry.
Amazing? That's just
We're the only
amazing.
siblings, brother and sister siblings now.
Right.
Of course, you got Loretta Lynn and people like that had Crystal Gale, they're both sisters. But to have a brother and sister, we're the only ones in the history of the Grand Ole Opry to exist as members.
That needs to be a plaque on the wall.
It should be. We got plaques, but yeah.
There you go.
And to come from a little town, we were the second poorest county in Missouri, Schuyler County. Green Top had 351 people my entire life. And to have two people come out of that community, that little community, to become members of the Grand Ole Opry, and it's really amazing to me.
But you know, that kind of thing takes place, in my mind anyway, in small rural areas. You know, a lot of people say 50 years ago, they couldn't afford TV sets, probably couldn't have gotten reception anyway. They were so far back in the hills, so the only thing they had to entertain themselves were guitars and banjos and mandolins and that kind of thing. And that's why it's such a family thing when you start talking about country music and
old time music.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I love about Smithville. They have that Fiddler's Jamboree here.
Yes.
Old time music. It's beautiful. Because
Yeah.
when I grew, like you said, 350 people in our community, that's the only thing we did was play little county fairs. They used to have pie suppers. I remember playing the pie supper for my grandma.
Kind of like a cakewalk, I guess,
Cakewalk
right?
is exactly what it was. They put numbers on the thing, and
Right.
they put all the pies out, and you would walk, and they draw the name out, and that's the number.
I'm old enough to know what a cakewalk
Isn't
is.
that cool?
A lot of people
I loved
probably
it.
don't even
I
know
hate
what
cake,
that is.
but I love the pies.
Yeah, absolutely. I hadn't
But it was
heard about the
wonderful.
pie thing.
Yeah,
But,
we played that. I mean, that's what you did for entertainment.
and that's what bonded people in small communities so much. Everything was centered around music of one kind or another, be it bluegrass or country or whatever.
That's right. And my father, in fact, in October this year, he passed away. Be 8 years ago. And the cool thing is, my mama, she's got a new boyfriend now, and he plays guitar as well. He's a musician.
Was that part of the requirement to date your mom? They had
You know, I have no idea. Mama, after Dad, didn't want anybody else, but the Lord brought her Randy.
Sure.
And they have such a great time. But Mama, at 80, still goes and plays about probably 50 or 60 shows a year in that rural area. So she's still very active playing music.
You got to keep going to keep up with her, don't you?
Yeah, I have to put on the calendar, come to Nashville to be with me to get her some time down here. So
That is incredible.
I love
Great
it.
story. One of many that we're getting to.
stay tuned.
That's right. More to come after these great announcements. Thank you for being with us.
Homeowners who make the switch to natural gas know what convenience, efficiency, and comfort really mean. Clean, hassle-free, and reliable. Natural gas is there when you need it. There's no waiting, no storage, no mess. Natural gas is also an important consideration among home buyers, so installing high-efficiency natural gas equipment and appliances can be a wise investment in your home. To convert to natural gas, call Middle Tennessee Natural Gas, your hometown energy choice since 1955.
Powell & Meadows Insurance, in business since 1894, provides knowledgeable and personal service to our clients. One call puts you in touch with a local agent who will help you shop from a variety of top companies. At Powell & Meadows Insurance Agency, we work for you. Call today or visit us online anytime.
We are here to help you. Let us show you what customer service is all about. Give us a call today.
Welcome back to Mondays with Murphy. We're sitting here with Darrin Vincent. I'm hopeful that after this interview is over, he's going to show me how to push all of these buttons, and maybe we can get a new hit started here or something.
We can try. That's
Who
right.
knows? We've talked a little bit about your early years,
Yes.
basically just playing with your family.
That's right.
Which is a great way to start, and that's probably where most musicians get their start. They've got to get some encouragement from mom or dad or somebody in the family, an uncle, I think somebody mentioned to me earlier. But Ricky Skaggs, if you know anything about bluegrass music, you know who Ricky Skaggs is, and I understand you and he were together for several years. You were playing in his band.
That's right. When I left Missouri, came here to Smithville, you'd ask me when I walked in, how did we end up here in Smithville? Well, I decided, my wife and I, Julie, decided we were going to move away and get into Nashville. Actually, my mother-in-law, I was talking to her and saying, this just ain't working out up here at home anymore.
Too far away from Music City.
And she said, you know what? You can't play the game unless you're sitting at the table. And I got to thinking about that. That makes so much sense.
Doesn't it, though?
So Julie and I, we got a map out, took Nashville, and we just circled about a 7,500 mile radius.
Sure.
We prayed over the map. We said, Lord, guide us where you want us to be. She sent out a huge bunch of resumes to be teacher, the special ed teacher. And Kathy Frazier here in DeKalb County, Smithville, was the first call to my wife. Said, we need you and we want you down here for an interview. Came down and she hired her within, I think, an hour. Said, you got the job. And we sold everything we had and moved right here to Smithville, and we haven't left. That's 28 years ago.
I mentioned to you that for 34 years I published a preseason high school football magazine. Yes. I got to know 500 head football coaches over the years. And it always amazed me how many of those football coaches were certified to teach special ed. And I think those are special people that have a set of wings waiting for them when they leave this earth.
The countless kids my wife's helped, and a lot of the people that I know in DeKalb County's helped a lot of people to be more than they ever thought they could be. I love that.
So you moved to Smithville, but how did you and Ricky Skaggs get
Well, that's
together?
that's a great story. I was producing a lot of records at the time, a lot of bluegrass records.
Okay.
And Chris Jones, who's on Sirius XM, he's a DJ on there, on the Bluegrass Network. I don't know if you remember the McCarters. They had a bunch of number ones or a bunch of hits back in the 80s, I believe. Sir. Anyway, Jennifer was the lead singer, and she wanted a band to go out. So Chris Jones and I was playing bass, singing harmony. We went out, and just lo and behold, we were out 3 days with Ricky Skaggs opening for him. And a week prior to that, Scott Vestal, who plays banjo, great banjo player.
Right.
He had been doing some bluegrass shows with Ricky, kind of filling in, and he said, hey, his harmony singer's leaving. You should try out for that job. And the next week, we were out with Jennifer McCarter opening for Ricky. So I went and told Bobby Hicks, fiddle player for him, because I knew him. I said, hey, if you see Ricky, I said, let him know that I'd like to have a job or an opportunity to sing harmony for him, and I'd like this job if he would consider hiring me.
Sure.
So I guess 30 minutes later, Bobby came back. He said, hey, I told Ricky. And he said, if you can blend, he said, you'll have the job. And so the next week, I went when they were doing the Nashville Network, had the Ralph Emery Show or something like that,
Sure.
one of those weekly shows.
Right.
He was there, and I went back, and we sang two or three songs backstage. He said, be at my house next week. He said, you got the job, and that was it.
It's one of those deals where you never know unless you ask,
Nope.
right? And that's all you did was just
Word
say,
of mouth, that's right.
Yeah.
And I was there 11 years with Ricky, sang harmony and played archtop guitar, mandolin, acoustic guitar. And won 5 Grammys with him while I was there, and I think 8 or 9 IBMA awards for Instrumental Band of the Year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty
now,
cool.
I understand you play multiple instruments. What all do you play?
I'm not very good on anything, but I play everything from the bass, acoustic bass, stand-up bass,
Right.
mandolin, banjo, fiddle, dobro, any stringed instrument I can pretty much play.
What's the most difficult, or was the most difficult one for you to learn?
The hardest instrument I think to play is the banjo and the fiddle.
Really?
You've got to play if you're going to be any good to me,
Right.
you've got to play those at least every day. Because there's a roll, you got to just the whole fundamentals of the motor skills.
The hands
and
aren't in
fiddle.
the same kind of place, are they?
It's all different. and just being able to get comfortable and get your motor skills. It's really, really difficult to do it really well.
But I guess the secret, if you want to call it that, to being able to do all of that is just repetition. You just got to stay after a day after day after day, whether you're a rock and roll guy, a gospel guy, or a bluegrass guy.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You should sing every day. You should play every day. If you're not playing or singing, you should be thinking about it. I think about music pretty much 24/7. Because that's what I do.
So you were part of Kentucky Thunder.
Yep.
I thought that was one of the greatest band names that I'd ever heard when I heard that.
Ricky grew up in Kentucky, so Kentucky Thunder was just a normal transition for him, I believe. But anyways, there 11 years and had a lot of wonderful things that we did. We traveled around the world together. Did a USO tour with Ricky and Paul Overstreet for our troops during the Bosnia conflict. You remember the Bosnia conflict?
Sure.
I went over there, and I've never seen destruction in my life like what I've seen over there. Just the most horrific things. The news does not do it justice.
I make it a point every time I see anyone in a military uniform to thank them for their service, but I think people like you need to be thanked also because you took your life and put it at risk every stop you made on those USO tours.
We was over there 10 days in the middle of the battle.
Yeah.
Well, I was just there to support our troops.
Sure.
And I sure loved being able to do that and be a small part of trying to bring some home and love to them from the U.S. to them.
Now, understand, after you left Ricky, you joined with another very talented musician, and is that kind of where you are today?
Yes, sir. I met Jamie in 2001 or 2 at the IBMA's Bluegrass Music Association. He was working with Doyle Lawson, and I was working with Ricky. And he did a gospel song called Be Living on the award show, and absolutely, it just captivated myself and Ricky and Sharon. And I went backstage, put my hand out, and I said, "I'm Darrin Vincent, and I want to be your friend." And I've got his number and found out he lived in Cookeville. He grew up in Gainesboro, Tennessee. We were 25 minutes from each other, had no clue, and became best friends.
How awesome.
So the next segment, I'll tell you more about that.
Great story. And there's greater ones still on the horizon, so stay with us. We got one more segment to go, and we'll be back shortly after these announcements.
Powell and Metals Insurance, in business since 1894, provides knowledgeable and personal service to our clients. One call puts you in touch with a local agent who will help you shop from a variety of top companies. At Powell and Metals Insurance Agency, we work for you. Call today or visit us online anytime.
We are here to help you. Let us show you what customer service is all about. Give us a call today.
Homeowners who make the switch to natural gas know what convenience, efficiency, and comfort really mean. Clean, hassle-free, and reliable. Natural gas is there when you need it. There's no waiting, no storage, no mess. Natural gas is also an important consideration among home buyers, so installing high-efficiency natural gas equipment and appliances can be a wise investment in your home. To convert to natural gas, call Middle Tennessee Natural Gas, your hometown energy choice since 1955.
DTC fiber? Yeah. Nice.
DTC fiber?
Oh, yeah.
This is only a 30-minute show, and we could probably sit here for an hour and a half, I guess, just listening to your stories.
Trying to crunch it down. Yeah.
Darrin Vincent, who played with Ricky Skaggs in his Kentucky Thunder Band for several years, is our special guest, and we're just having a great time in this studio here in Smithville, Tennessee. Tell me a little bit about Dailey and Vincent. That's the guy that you said was from Gainesboro,
Gainesboro,
right?
Tennessee. Grew up in Gainesboro. Yeah, Jamie Dailey. Met him at the IBMAs. Became friends. We put out a sampler. Used to go out to 1,000 radio stations. I was doing a record for Koch Family Records called, I think, Christmas Grass Volume 2. I was talking to the label heads, and I said, hey, if I could bring a few of my friends on this record, besides just playing on it and singing on it, I said, would you give me a song to be on there? They said, yeah. He said, who'd you have in mind? I said, well, I'd like to get Russell Moore to come do this, and Doyle Lawson. And I said, I think I can get Dolly Parton to be on this. And they said, if you can get Dolly on it, we will give you a slot.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, so I've been on a lot of Dolly Parton's record. In fact, currently out right now, which before her rock and roll record comes out, which it may be out any day.
Sure.
Run, Rose, Run. I'm on that cut as a title cut. It's supposed to be a movie.
Okay.
So I'm on that current record. I think I've been on like 12 or 13 of her records over the years. But anyway, back to Dailey and Vincent. We was doing Christmas Grass. I brought Dolly. Dolly agreed to come do the Bill Monroe Christmas Time Is Coming. Of course, Jamie and I both sang on that. Did the record. We did a song called Beautiful Star of Bethlehem. And I said, would you also put it on this sampler? Because I sent it to 1,000 bluegrass radio stations around the world. And it reported every week who was getting played the most. And it was kind of report. You could actually see out of 20 songs, which 20 would really do well, and it was the most current things out there. Well, Jamie and I kept the #1 slot for 4 months on the Prime Cuts of Bluegrass.
Wow.
So Jamie and I got talking and said, hey, if people are liking this, maybe we should consider doing our own thing.
Right.
And so he and I started putting money in the bank separately. We found a bank that he had and where he was. And
How long ago was this?
Probably 2005, we started saving money.
Okay.
So he and I started putting money in the account. 2007, we decided, hey, we're going to give Ricky and Doyle Lawson a year's notice, and at the end of that year, we was going to leave. And that's exactly what we did. We gave them January of 2007. We gave them our notice, gave them a year's notice. And at the end of that year, our very first paid date was at the Grand Ole Opry as Dailey and Vincent. December the 29th, 2007 was our very first paid booking date of Dailey and Vincent. We started it at the Grand Ole Opry, the Ryman Auditorium of all places. And people heard it. We were leaving. We started getting all these offers, really good money. And our manager at the time, Don Light, who actually helped start the Oak Ridge Boys, and Jimmy Buffett. Yeah. He found Jimmy Buffett and started his career. Anyway, he said, now guys, he said, I really recommend you don't take these offers. He said, just hold it. He said, let's start it at the Grand Ole Opry. He said, I think I can get it. We couldn't get promised that. He said, I think we should wait. So we waited, and Pete Fisher, he said, yep, I think about a month out, he said, we'll let you debut at the Grand Ole Opry as their first paid date. 10 years later, Marty Stewart came out at the Ryman Auditorium. Jamie's daddy was there, JB. They gave us a 30-minute segment. Had Johnny Cash's son. Oh my God. Yeah, John Carter Cash, his wife, Marty Stewart, us. We hosted, and after we had sung with Marty Stewart, he came out and said, hey guys, he said, I got to do a little business here. He said, the Opry needs you, country music needs you. He said, we want you to be the next members of the Grand Ole Opry. Oh. And I fell to the ground just thanking the Lord.
Did the tears start?
Instantly. But I immediately went to my knees saying, thank you, Jesus. Got to have that moment with my mom. My dad had already passed. And March the 11th of 2017, I believe, they made us members of the Grand Ole Opry, 213th members.
That's amazing. I mentioned earlier that I looked at your website and saw you guys are all over the Southeast between now and Christmas. Yeah. And I would imagine a lot of those venues you've already been to, but they wanted you to come back again. Is that kind of how it works, or are you always having to seek out a new place you haven't been? You
always try to plug in new places, but mostly we had 100% repeat business. Mm-hmm. People want us back the next year. So we're trying to do 18-month, wait 18 months and then go back instead of doing it every 12 months.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, because all those places, a lot of new people have moved in that didn't get a chance to see before. How far away from Smithville do you venture? We
played Japan. We played in Switzerland. We love going to Stade, Switzerland, Germany. A couple more things before we run out of time that I want to talk about. Is we did it in 2009. We did a record for Cracker Barrel Old Country Store. Called Dailey and Vincent sing the Statler Brothers. We were looking for corporate sponsorship to try to broaden our brand as Dailey and Vincent.
Sure.
They really opened it. Cracker Barrel really opened the door for us to be able to get into a bigger audience, plus doing the Statler Brother music, because they had just retired. They just went into the Country Music Hall of Fame. We went there to play for them for their induction at the Hall of Fame, and got to hang out with them the whole time. Reboot was there, Vince Gill. And there they were honoring the Statlers that day.
Sure.
And it was so beautiful to be a part of that. Cracker Barrel was great for opening our brand up a little longer or bigger to do different music. And then we got with Springer Mountain Farms Chicken out of Georgia, Gus Arundel. He helped us get our very first TV show on RFD TV. We went back on, signed another year contract. Right now, we're on every Saturday night, Friday night, and Wednesday morning on RFD TV, the Dailey and Vincent Show. Saturday nights, there's new episodes, 7:30.
Yeah.
And then on at 10:30 on Friday nights, and I think it's 6 or 6:30 on Wednesday mornings we're on.
I'm glad we got to mention that.
I wanted to, thanks to Springer Mountain Farms, I love corporate sponsorship.
Sure.
It's great to live here in DeKalb County, Murphy. It's good to meet you. Come to the Grand Ole Opry, be with us. Anytime you can be with us, we'd love to have you.
This has been so much fun. I have terribly enjoyed this, more than you can imagine.
Is that good to terribly enjoy something?
Yeah, that's to that nth degree, I guess you might say. But thank you so much, Darrin, for being with us for this. I think you're going to find a bunch of new bluegrass music fans, country music fans, maybe who were not before. I can just tell by your voice talking that you've got a blessed voice. I listened to 2 or 3 of your songs last night on YouTube and was carried away with it, and look forward to hearing more from you.
Well, thank you. One more thing I want to say. Thank you to Ricky Scruggs for letting us use his studio here in Smithville, Scruggs Studio. If you record or think you want to do a demo, write songs or whatever, Ricky is he's got such a tender heart, listens to people, try to achieve their dreams and their music, what they create. Come to Scruggs Studio here in Smithville and be a part of making your dreams come true.
First thing I asked him when I met him at the door was, any relation to Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs? He said, like maybe a 4th or 5th cousin. I said, that's close enough for me.
Well, what he told me was that he was kissing cousins with them, so.
Oh, okay. We won't go there. Darrin, thank you.
Sorry, Ricky.
Thank you so much for being with us. You've been a great guest, and I look forward to our next meeting. Thank you for watching. You can also get this on dtc3.tv if you want to check it out. Tell your friends about it, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.